book of Micah.
Everybody got it? Everybody got it? Yes, come. Okay.
The book of Micah, chapter 3, verse 9. Hear this, I pray you, ye heads of the house of Jacob, and princes of the house of Israel, that abhor judgment and pervert all inequity. They build
all equity. They deal with people falsely. So.
They build up Zion with blood and Jerusalem with iniquity. The heads thereof judge for reward, and the priests thereof teach for hire.
So they judge for reward and they teach for hire.
And the prophets thereof divine for money. Yet will they leave upon Yet will they lean upon the Most High and say, is not the Most High among us? None evil can come upon us.
That's the same thing the pastors say today. You know, ain't the Most High with us? Ain't God with us? Ain't Jesus with us? Or whatever, you know. They say, and they teach for how they have, you know, special classes. You know, you take this class or you get your, you become an elder or you become whatever, you know, in their congregation. Give me Ezekiel 34, verse 1. One through 4. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 1 through 4. Everybody got it? Okay. Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 1. And the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Power unto the shepherds, Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flock?
The pastors and the elders supposed to be feeding the flock. But
ye eat the fat, and ye clothe you with the wool.
But they clothing themselves and they eating themselves. They getting fat. But
ye kill them that are fed.
They kill them that are fed. They go after everybody else's money. Go ahead.
But ye feed not the flock.
But they don't feed the flock with spiritual things, nor with physical things. But
the deceased have ye not strengthened.
They supposed to heal. They supposed to heal the disease. Go ahead.
Neither have ye healed that which is sick.
They haven't healed the sick. Go ahead.
Neither have ye bound up that which is broken.
They haven't healed the broken hearts. Go ahead.
Neither have ye brought again that which was driven away. Neither have ye.
They haven't brought back the lost tribes of Israel. I mean, the children of Israel. Go ahead.
Neither have ye sought that which was lost.
They never sought the children. They never sought the children of Israel. And know the people that walk away from either their camp or their church, whatever. They don't seek after them. They don't do them a call. They don't do nothing. They just let them go. Go ahead.
But with force and with cruelty have ye ruled them.
And the same thing when they brought us over here when in slave ship, they ruled us with force and cruelty. And they said, oh, this is the Bible. They talked out of the Bible, but they didn't read the Bible. Go ahead.
Verse 5.
Hold on. So I'll stop right there. Hold that and give me James chapter 2, verse 14 through 16. Yeah.
The book of James, chapter 2, verse 14. What does it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him?
My brother, or the brother of James, the brother of Yeshua posed the question. What is faith? What does it profit me? Hold on, go ahead and read that again, Salaki.
What does it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him?
He said, what does it profit if a man say he has faith and don't have works? The back is face up. Go ahead.
If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be you warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body.
So they're not giving them the things that's needful to the body, the things that they need for their daily use. They just saying, "Oh, go and be healed. The Most High be with you, or God be with you, or Jesus be with you." They just letting them go around. Oh yeah, you're gonna be okay. But while they living like a fat rat, wherever they are. Good.
What does it profit?
Go back to Ezekiel chapter 34. Pick up at the 6th verse, 6 to 11.
The book.
Let me know if I'm going too fast.
Ezekiel 34.
Ezekiel 34, starting at verse 6 to 11.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34.
Everybody got it?
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 6. My sheep wandered through all the mountains and upon every high hill.
So they wandering from religion to religion to religion, from camp to camp, wherever. They go finish that.
Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them.
They're not seeking, the head's not seeking for those sheep, the ones that leave these places. Correct?
Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of the Most High.
Okay, what do you guys say?
Verse 8. As I live, saith the Most High power, surely, because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves, and fed not my flock.
Okay.
Verse 9. Therefore, O ye shepherds, hear the word of the Most High. Thus saith the Most High power, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves anymore.
So it's going to come a certain time where the Most High is going to require his sheep from these people. And they said they're not going to feed, they're not going to make this feeder be fat anymore. He's going to stop being fed completely, because the people are going to start seeking the Most High. And not man.
For I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. Verse 11. For thus saith the Most High power, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. So will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day.
Talk about the coming of Yeshua. All right, go ahead, give me it's Acts chapter 20, verse 30 through 35. Acts chapter 20. Everybody got it? Right,
The book of Acts, chapter 20, verse 30. Also, of your own self shall men arise, speaking perverse things,
they're speaking false things.
to draw away disciples after them. Therefore watch and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn every one night and day with tears.
Okay.
And now, brethren, I commend you to the Most High, and to the word of his grace, which is able to build you up, and to give you an inheritance among all them which are sanctified. Verse 33. I have coveted no man's silver.
This is Apostle Paul. He said he covered no man's silver. Correct.
Or gold or apparel.
Mm-hmm.
Yea, you yourselves know that these hands have ministered unto my necessity, and to them that were with me.
So not only did Paul labor for himself, but he labored for everybody, the people that was around, so that no man could say he took from his congregation. Good.
Verse 35. I have shewed you all things, how that so laboring ye ought to support the weak, and to remember the words of the Lord Yeshua, how he said, it is more blessed to give than to receive.
So it's more blessed to give than receive. But give me 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 9.
First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 9.
Everybody got it?
1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
For it is written in the law of Moses, thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that treadeth out the corn.
I know y'all hear a lot of pastors say this.
Doth the Most High take care for oxen?
They pose the question, does the Most High take care of the oxen?
Or saith he it altogether for our sakes? For our sakes, no doubt. This is written, that he that ploweth shall plow in hope, and that he that thresheth in hope shall be partaker of his hope.
Jump down to 11.
Verse 11. If we have sown unto you spiritual things, is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things?
That's a question. Paul posed the question.
If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the gospel of Christ.
So Paul didn't even use this law. He said he did because he didn't want his glory. He explained it later on. Paul didn't use it. He was like, he said, because I know my reward. My reward is in heaven.
Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple, and they which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar? Even so have the Lord ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel. Mm-hmm. Verse 15.
All right, yeah.
But I
jump down to verse 15.
But I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that it should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glory void.
So Paul said it's better for him to die than any man to make his glory void. Meaning his reward in heaven to make it void. Right?
For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of. For necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel.
He said, woe unto him is not preach the gospel. Because remember, he said, those who work the altar, they abide there in the altar because they know that glory is the altar. Because he's saying that the gospel is my reward, my glory. So I'm not worried about my necessities. I know they're going to be taken care of. He said, even though he still labored with his own hands, anything that he had, so he wasn't coveting anybody's anything. But
for if I do these things willingly, I have a reward.
Okay.
But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. What is my reward then? Verily that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge.
So he made the gospel of Christ without charge, meaning he didn't charge his soul for the gospel of Christ. So
that I abuse not my power in the gospel. Verse 19. For though I be free from all men, Yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more.
This is the apostle Paul saying, I made myself a servant to all, so that I may like every day.
He said, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more.
So he might gain the more, because he said the last shall be first, and the first shall be last, and the least, he said the least among you shall be the greatest. That's why he said what he said. All right, go to Matthew chapter 20, verse 25 through 27. I know some of y'all like, where am I going with this? But you got to say it on the stronghold before you can get to what, you know. Matthew 20, verse 25 through 27.
The book of Matthew, chapter 20, verse 25.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeshua called them unto him, and said, Ye know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you.
Because in Isaiah, he said, follow not the ways of the heathen. He said the Gentiles exercise dominion over the people that are under them.
And whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many.
He said the chief amongst you should be the servant. So the ones who high up should be the servant. These pastors should be the ones out here serving the people. Give me Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6 to 13. Verse 6 to 13.
And these
Oh, yeah, I got it.
1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. And these things, brethren, I have in figure And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to my soul, and to Apollo for your sakes, that ye might learn and use not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you be puffed up for one against another. For who maketh thee to differ from another? And what hast thou that thou didst not receive?
So Paul said, what make the pastor, whoever the heads of these churches, or whoever the head of these camps or whatever, who made them the head? That they act like they didn't receive from God, or they not reading the Most High's word, but they act like it's their own, and that's why they covet it. But
now, if thou didst receive it, why doest thou glory if thou hast not received it? Now ye are full. Now ye are rich. Ye have reigned as kings without us. And I would to the Most High ye did reign.
He said they rich, they did it without them. You see they buying these jets, these cars, these houses.
That we also might reign with them. For I think that the Most High have set forth us, the apostles.
He said he wished that they be rich so they might reign with him, because he said he wished that they be rich so that they might reign with him, because if a kingdom, or just like in the olden days when David was the king, when he was on top, Israel was on top. But all right, there you go. So don't read Jeremiah. I don't know, you was down. I don't know if you could read one moment. Should I go ahead? You understand? Right there. That's mine. Good, brother. You leave off from a lot. Yeah, start at 9. First Corinthians. Chapter 4. Keys and all. Start in that verse. 15.
The book 1 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 9. For I think that Ahayah has set forth us, the apostles, last, as it were appointed to death.
Because the last shall be first, and first shall be last. Good.
For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. We are fools for Christ's sake, but ye are wise in Christ. We are weak, but ye are strong.
He made them spiritually strong. Go ahead.
Ye are honorable, but we are despised.
They didn't like them. Go ahead.
Even unto this present hour we both hunger and thirst, and are naked, and are buffeted, and have no certain dwelling place, and labor, working with our own hands, being reviled. We bless, being persecuted, we suffer it. Being defamed, we entreat. We are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscouring of all things unto this day.
And he just gave an example of what a man of the Most High, what the apostles went through. And you can match that up to the pastors, and you see they're not going through this stuff. They're not laboring for their own money. They eating off what the church do. They eating off what everybody else doing. But they're not laboring with their own hands. That's why Creflo Dollar said, "Oh man, I'm trying to buy a jet, man. Get out of here with that." Give me 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. Second Peter chapter 2, verse 1 through 3.
Okay.
Everybody got it? All right, go ahead.
The book of 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse 1 through 3. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that brought them.
Even though, even in the truth, you got brothers who saying they don't believe in the Mashiach or the New Testament. They teaching damnable heresies. Go ahead.
And bring upon themselves swift destruction.
They're bringing upon themselves swift destruction.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways. You got some of these turning camps in the culture.
By reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
The way of truth, or the true way of living, shall be evil spoken of amongst them. Go ahead.
And through covetousness shall they with vain words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not.
Because remember they made when they brought us over on slave ships, they made merchandise of us.
And their damnation slumbereth not.
Their damnation slumbereth not. Good.
For if Ahayah spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell.
But the Most High spared not the angels that slept with the woman. Good.
And delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment. And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person.
a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
Romans chapter 16, verse 17 and 18. Yeah, Romans chapter 16, verse 17 and 18. Everybody got it? All right, good.
The book of Romans, chapter 16, verse 17 through 18.
Uh-huh.
Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them with cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Yeshua Christ, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple.
And if they don't follow the ways that the apostles set forth, he said mark them. And they call it division because that's why they got all these different denominations and all this other craziness going on out here. But there goes some examples of how the apostles live and what they live by. 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 3. Everybody got it? 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 1 through 3. Everybody got it? All right, good.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 16, verse 1 through 3. Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given order to the churches of Galatia, even so do ye upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him a store, as Ahayah have prospered him. That there be no gatherings when I come. And when I come, whomsoever ye shall approve by your letters, them will I send to bring your liberality into Jerusalem.
Hold that. Hold that and give me Romans 15 and 26. We're gonna see why Paul told them to gather on the first day. That don't excuse the Sabbath being done away with. He just told them to gather the money on the first day because they couldn't do it on the Sabbath because it's the high holy day. Romans 15 verse 26. Now let's see why he sent the money to Jerusalem. And this is where we're gonna start getting in the true law of tithing.
The book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 26. For it hath pleased them of Macedonia and Ahayah to make a certain contribution for the poor saints which are at Jerusalem.
All right, go back to hold that. Go back to 1 Corinthians 16 and 14. And that is why they sent their money to Jerusalem to help out the poor. That was good.
The book of Corinthians.
1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 4.
Chapter 16, verse 4. And if it be meet that I go also, they shall go with me.
Go 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 1. First, 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 1.
Second Corinthians chapter 9, verse 1. For as touching the ministry to the saints, it is superfluous for me to write to you.
All right, jump down to 6 to 13. Jump down to 6 to 13. Go ahead.
2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 to 13. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly.
Okay.
And he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he prosper in his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity. For Ahayah loveth a cheerful giver, and Ahayah is able to make all grace abound toward you, that ye always, having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work, as it is written, he hath dispersed abroad, he hath given to the poor, his righteousness remaineth forever.
His righteousness remains for what?
Forever.
He that giveth to who?
To the poor.
Jump, that's it?
Verse 10. Now he that mendeth seed to the sorrow both minister bread for your food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness, being enriching everything to all bountifulness, which causes through us thanksgiving unto Ahayah. For the administration of this service not only suffereth the one of the saints, but is abundant also by many thanksgivings unto Ahayah. While by the spirit of this ministration they glorify Ahayah for your professed suggestion to the gospel of Yeshua, and for your liberal distribution unto them and unto all men.
Next precept is Hosea chapter 10, verse 2. Everybody got it?
The book of Hosea, chapter 10, verse 12. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it's time to seek the Lord, till he come and rain righteousness upon you.
So now it's time to seek the Most High. Let's give me 1 Peter chapter 2 and 9. First Peter chapter 2, verse 9. I think it's right after the James.
The book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness to his marvelous light.
So the Most High called us a royal priesthood, a holy generation. Give me Malachi chapter 3, verse 9.
The book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 9. Ye are cursed with a curse,
Okay.
for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house. And prove me now, herewith save the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you to the windows of heaven. And if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there should not be room enough to receive it.
So why would the Most High say he need meat in his house when the Most High don't need food? You know. Give me Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17.
Appreciate that, bro.
19 and 17.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Most High, and that which he had given will he pay him again. 18.
So he said, he who lendeth to the poor lendeth to the Most High. Because Matthew, I think Matthew, no, Salaki, it's Luke. It says, blessed the poor, for there is the kingdom of heaven. So when you give to the poor, you give it to the Most High. All right, give me Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Everybody got it? Luke chapter 6, verse 38.
The book of Luke, chapter 6, verse 38. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, and shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again.
So when you give to the poor, you give it to the Most High. So the Most High said he's going to reward you in Proverbs 19 and 17. Give me Matthew chapter 19, verse 21. Yeah, 19 and 21.
The book of Matthew 19 and 21. Yeshua said unto him, if thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. 22.
He said, if you give to the poor, you're going to have treasures in heaven. He said, if thou wilt be made perfect, sell what thou have and give to the poor, so you may have treasures in heaven, showing that when you give to the poor, you're storing up treasures in heaven. So we're going to get into the true breakdown. Ecclesiasticus chapter 19 and 19. I'm sorry, I had to do it like this to get the full breakdown. Good. Because it humbles you, because you have to be humble enough to lend to the poor. You walk outside the streets of D.C., you see homeless people out there. Most people just walk past. It take a humble person or somebody disciplined to look at, or even consider giving to them. What was that God had? Because he was a rich young ruler.
Oh, you talking about rich guy?
Yeah, that was the whole.
He also asked a question like, you know, like how can I make it into heaven? I think he also asked like, you know, how can I be perfect? 'Cause he was saying like I did all that, so I'm basically perfect.
Because he already followed the commandments.
Right.
But the story goes. He,
Yeah.
Okay.
nah, that's
In a sense.
he was telling the man, he was telling the rich young ruler, he was like, sell what you have, because remember, it's harder for a rich man to enter into heaven than the camel to go through the needle of the eye of the needle. So he was telling him, he like, sell everything that you have, and then you'll be made perfect. Go ahead. Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, 19 and 19.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 19, verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Most High is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality. The fear of the Most High is all wisdom, and in all wisdom is the performance of the law, and the knowledge of his omnipotency. 21.
He said the commandments of the.
It said the knowledge of the commandments of the Most High is the doctrine of life.
So the knowledge of the commandments of the Most High is the doctrine of life. Right?
And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
Those who do things that please the Most High shall receive
the fruit of the tree of immortality.
So you receive the fruit of immortality. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22 through 29. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22 through 29.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14, verse 22. Thou shalt truly tie all the increase of thy people, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Most High thy power, in the place which he shall choose to place his name there. The tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thy oil, and the firstling of thy herds, and of thy flock, that thou mayest learn to fear the Most High thy power always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Most High thy power shall choose to set his name there, where the Most High thy power hath blessed thee. 25. Then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thy hand, and shall go unto the place which the Most High thy power shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, for sheep, for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before the Most High thy power, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thy household. And the Levite that is within thy gate, thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee.
That word inheritance, man, he had no property, he had no land, no heirloom, nothing was passed down to him, because the altar was his dwelling place. Good.
At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thy increase the same year, and shall lay up within thy gates, and shall lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite because he have no part nor inheritance with thee. And the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Most High thy power may bless thee, and all the works of thy hands which thou doest.
So basically, when you give your tithe, you're supposed to gather all the poor from around the city, or to feed the widow, the orphan, or the widow because she had no man to provide for, and the children because 9 times out of 10 they was lost, their father or their parents was lost in war or something like that. We're gonna go to Numbers chapter 18, verse 23. Yeah.
The book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 24. But the tithe of the children of Israel, which they offer as an heave offering unto the Most High, I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when ye take of the children of Israel the tithe, which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then ye shall offer up an heave offering of it for the Most High, even a 10th part of the tithe.
So he's showing that the children of Israel, the children of Levi had no inheritance because they worked the temple and the offering was their inheritance. Give me Matthew chapter 5, chapter 10, verse 5.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Yeshua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the ways of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
Jump down to verse 9.
Verse 9. Provide neither gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purse, nor
13. 9 to 13.
provide neither gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purses, nor scrip for your journey, neither 2 coats, neither shoes, nor yet staves, for the workman is worthy of his meat. And into whatsoever city or town ye shall enter, inquire who in it is worthy, and there abide till ye go thence. Verse 12. And when ye come into an house, salute it. 13. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you.
The reason Yeshua started to send them out like this because they started to go in the order of the priesthood. So they wasn't supposed to take anything with them. The people were supposed to feed them that they ministered to. Give me Ecclesiasticus chapter 4, verse 4 through 6. And this is the spiritual aspect of giving tithe, of giving alms to the poor. Yeah, hold on. Salaki, yeah, 4 through 4. Ecclesiasticus 4 and 4. Hold on, Salaki, good. All right, jump down.
That's the one in the Apostolic.
Yeah, the apocrypha. So like y'all, give me Tobit chapter. This is the spiritual meaning. Give me Tobit 12 and 12 and 8. So like, sorry. Tobit chapter 12, verse 8 through 9.
The book of Tobit, chapter 12, verse 8. Prayer is good with fasting, and alms and righteousness. A little with righteousness is better than much with unrighteousness. It is better to give alms than to lay up gold. For alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life. Verse 10. But they...
So it's not when you give alms, it's because you're giving unto the Most High when you give to the poor. So when you give alms, it's taken away from your sins. Give me Isaiah 58 and 10, verse 11, verse 10 through 11. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 10 and 11.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 10. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as noonday. And the Most High shall guide thee continually, and satisfy thy soul in drought, and make fat thy bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water, whose waters fail not.
So even in your darkest hour, when you give to the hungry, Most High said, even in your darkest hour, He'll keep you. He said, in the darkness, He said, you'll be as bright as noonday. Give me Psalms chapter 41, 1 through 3. Psalms chapter 41, 1 through 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 41, verse 1. Blessed is he that considereth the poor. The Most High will deliver him in time of trouble. The Most High will preserve him and keep him alive, and he shall be blessed upon the earth. And thou wilt not deliver him unto the will of his enemies. The Most High will strengthen him upon the bed of languishing. Thou wilt make all his bed and his sickness.
Give me Matthew chapter 6, verse 1 through 4. I'm almost done now. Yeah. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1 through 4.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 1. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thy alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do, in the synagogue and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have the reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Verse 5. And what?
2 Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 through 10. First Timothy. First Timothy.
First Timothy chapter 6, verse
6 through 10.
the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. Verse 8. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content.
So be content with what you have.
Verse 9. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. Verse 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Verse 11. But
give me Matthew chapter 25, 30 through 46, and that's the last precept.
Matthew chapter what?
25, 31 through 46.
41.
31 through 46.
The book of St. Matthew, chapter 25, verse 31. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from the other, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, and inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was an hunger, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? And the king shall answer, and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Verse 42. For I was in hunger, and ye gave me not, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in, naked, and ye clothed me not, sick, in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee in hunger, or thirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not unto me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, and the righteous into life eternal.
And now let me say this, that when we do gather funds for like the group, kitty or whatever, that's something so we can do, that's separate from tithing and offering, so we can do like functions with each other. And sometimes we do give to, we do give unto those who are in the congregation that don't have. And, that's all I got for that. Anybody got? Yeah, they are. I said we. So, yeah, some is used for, like, say we want to have a group function. Say boat bowling or something like that. Let's say somebody who can't make their rent. Stuff like that.
What difference between alms and
It's same thing. But that's all I got. I know y'all hungry. Brother Conley, you pray with the food.
Ahayah, Ashar, Ahayah. We thank you for your words. We thank you for this day. Father God, we hope and pray that we may receive your words and take it, apply it into our heart, God, and allow us not only that it's finished here, but let's take it with us, study thy words, God, to continue to serve you, to worship you, and to live for you. God, especially in these days, where it's such a spiritual battle. It's just a struggle. As you said, God, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers in diverse places. We pray your spirit into this house, dear God. I pray that you may bring Sister Latoya, Sister Hannah, God, and I pray that you may let your presence continue to be in this house. Bless this food that your people are about to have. God, we pray your spirit into it. Guide and protect us as we are about to leave also. And God, help us to keep our mind and our focus, our thoughts, and our attention on you. As we pray, God, thank you in your wonderful name. Amen.
You do those prayers too?
We say the Lord's Prayer, our Father,
Father,
who art in heaven,
who art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come,
Thy will be done,
in
on
earth
earth
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
Forgive us our debts as we forgive those who trespass against us.
Lead us not
Into temptation,
but
but deliver us from all evil. Thine is the kingdom,
the power,
and the glory, forever. Amen.
I got the woman can eat first, and then the guy.
All right. Time to eat.